Hi, this is Aaron.
I'm Jess.
We're from Saybia, and you are watching Toasted.
Hey, two guys from Saybia back again in Amsterdam. Amazing and good news.
Yeah, hopefully you think so. We're really thrilled to be back here. We always love to be here, our second home as a band.
It took you 7 years, right? I mean, I was looking through the songs. A lot of songs referring to waiting, getting your act together. Was it actually like that?
I think when we chose to have a creative break back in, well, yeah, something 7 years, 8 years ago, it was something we had to do, and since then, we've all been doing our different things, creatively, and been working and starting to two solo albums. I released an album with another band and started my own company. The other guy's been doing all kinds of different things, and so there's just been a lot of things to do other than being in Saybia.
Did it actually feel like a split?
Um, yeah, it felt like what we it no it didn't feel like that. It felt like a creative break basically. But what we were kind of it had been 6 and 10 years with 3 albums and touring, and we basically just needed the break and to grow up as individuals, and have our own base. 'Cause we kind of lost that on the way.
Did it go too fast for you? Because I mean, success came pretty quickly overnight, especially in Holland and Denmark.
Well, it did. I think it's pretty normal story actually, with something happening really fast and explosive, and like dealing with pressure of making the second album and stuff like that. It's a common story for bands who has some degree of success. So it's nothing special actually. We just came to that point after 3 records that we needed to have a break there.
And then solo projects, of course, two solo records, and then in between even 2 gigs I saw in Denmark. I guess if a lot of people from Holland would have known about it,
Mm.
they would. You're laughing. They would have been there.
Yeah, I mean we've been playing a bit, playing a few gigs here and there.
We had a tour in 11 in Holland, 5 gigs, and then we played 2 Sing and Sleep shows in Paradiso in 2013 in January. So we've been here, and we played a couple of festivals as well, Bass Pop and
Yeah.
some other pop.
And now you guys will play back. You will play the Paradiso, and I saw you do the small club tour.
Yeah.
Paradiso sold out. Hang Low sold out.
Yeah.
That must have been cool, like to get out and immediately sell out these places because they're not even small venues.
Yeah, we didn't expect that, and we're really grateful and thrilled about getting back here and performing our new songs from our new album, and of course all the good old ones as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can I say it's a dark album?
Yeah, you can. I think it's dark. It's not melancholic. It's dark. I think that's right. It's dark and beautiful. And it stays it's comfortable in its darkness. I think that's what it is.
No, that's exactly what I was thinking. I mean, delve into the lyrics. I found a place in my heart with what I leave behind from Airplanes and Submarines. First glance, I took it a title, Airplanes and Submarines. What does it do on this album? Because it's like a completely different title from all the other ones.
Yeah.
And then listening to the song, I was like, great. This is a great metaphor to describe where you are, actually, because, of course, you're in the middle of the air, in the middle of the sea,
Yeah.
which is like floating in between, probably the feeling you have. But to get to the lyrics, pretty personal stuff, right?
It's not well, it is. Of course, it is. I do start from my personal experience, but the difference between the 3 previous albums, this is I'm more of a storyteller on this album. I've picked stories from what I see around me, and the relationships I see around me. Of course, relationships I have as well with those around me. But basically, I'm more of a storyteller than on the. This is not an album that's about the struggle within Saybia. It's not like on some of the previous albums. There's a lot of that going on. It's not. This song, this album is not referring to Saybia's story. It's more relationship based, and the whole thing of being where we are now in our late 30s, and I think you have to. What I reflect on anyway is whether to be as I am now, or if I and if so, accept the way I am, or if not, then I have to change something now. Otherwise, I'm going to be like this, and that might be a good thing. But when you're in a relationship with another person, you have to like find some common ground. If the one you're with do not accept you as you are, you have to make a choice. You have to see, okay, either you accept me or I accept that you don't accept me, and I have to change. So it's like, and I think a lot of that is going on this album. A lot of reflection about that.
Again, I'm glad you say this, because I mean, if you listen to the lyrics and if you look at the titles,
Down.
it's about time, down, it's been way too long, I'm still waiting. Being a fan, you're like, yeah, man, I'm still waiting too, you know?
Yeah. I don't know what to say about this. I mean, this album has been very much about. It started out as not an album, if you can say it like that. It started out as Søren and Jeppe meeting in the rehearsal room every Tuesday night to see if there could be any common creativity and if they could do some music that they both liked. And then Palle and I joined along the way, and all of a sudden there was songs enough to do an album. And then we thought, okay, then we might as well do an album. But it wasn't the intention that we should do an album from the beginning. No. So I guess the titles probably also reflect a bit on that. And it's like it's just been like this natural process of something came out of all these Tuesday nights, and now there's an album, and it's there, and we like it. And we hope other people like it, but it's mainly the main thing is that we like it, and we've been able to create something again that turns us on, all of us.
So why did you guys get together? Just to jam out for fun's sake, or
well,
like, let's meet on a Tuesday and have a couple of beers?
No, it was not fun. Well, it was actually fun, and we had a good time. I think we on our third record, we kind of struggled in the creative process. And we wanted to see if we could create a process, create an environment in the creative process that we could be comfortable in, and be as creative as possible, and be focused on the music and creating the music, and we succeeded in that, and that's why there's a record now. If we hadn't come to the point where we could agree on a common ground on the music, or feel thrilled about music, we wouldn't have made this album. So it all comes down to, actually, I just talked to Palle the other day, and then he said the thrill of leaving on Tuesday night at 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock, after making a new song, that was almost the same feeling we had when we were 20 years old.
Yeah, that's true.
So we were really excited about what we're doing. We felt not every Tuesdays, but some Tuesdays we had it like that.
Yeah.
And that's what we build on to make this album.
And with regards to the darkness, there's always been a darkness in our music. I think it's just more. I think we're more like watching the darkness than experiencing the darkness. Yeah. It's more like a reflection on the darkness than before. We were like. At some points in our career, we were very much in the darkness, you know, and describing it from the inside. I think it's more like outside in.
But also, you know, being a fan and being outside of the band, and not seeing the struggles, not hearing about the struggles, not understanding that it was hard for you guys to follow up creatively after so much press, so much touring, so much playing, so much recording. You don't get that, you know. You think like, okay, they write about me, they write about my personal situation, they write about.
And that's the thing. It's not about Saybia. It's not about me. I'm a storyteller. I tell stories about being, where I am right now, being human, being in love, being out of love, being in between, being between airplanes and submarines. And that's important for us on this album, that this is not something that reflects back on being in a band. It's
But a lot happened to you guys, right? Especially
well,
you.
a lot of good things happened.
Bad things?
We are yeah, but we're thrilled. We're very privileged to be able to get a record deal after 13 years, and then just being able to say, okay, we want to record this album, and we want to record it in LA, and be able to go to Frank Sinatra's studio for and record an album. We're just a very privileged band, and we've been that all along, and very privileged to be able to set up shows in Holland, and people show up here, and we're very grateful about that. And that's really the main focus right now, just appreciating that we actually have an album that we care about, that we love, and that we want to play live, and we're so fortunate that there's people still.
To see the show.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey, one thing I thought the first time I heard that you guys are back together again, I'm like, wow, it's been like 8 years. Of course, the music industry completely changed over those years, right? I mean, what are the differences? What? How do you guys experience that? I mean, because you dip in, you go out, and you dip back in. What changed?
I think the way people listen to music changed, of course, because of the whole digital age of streaming and Spotify, and I think people experience music in different ways. But then again, there's been a bloom in at least in Denmark. There's probably always been a lot of people going out listening to concerts in Holland, but that kind of changed in Denmark, at least within the last I don't know, 5-6 years. People are going more out for shows and concerts, and it's been it's an important thing for bands now to go and play live, because that's where you make your living. You're not making any money of selling albums anymore. So that changed, and I think so. And of course for the industry as well. I mean, back when we designed our first deal, we were like the last ones, some of the last bands in Denmark to get like an old-fashioned record deal with 3 albums and recording budget and blah 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 and the whole thing. And nowadays, people record their own albums. They go to a label. Can you help us promote this? And then they own the rights and everything. And so that the whole business has changed, and it's been, I think it's been some crazy years, for a lot of bands and a lot of record companies around the world. How can we make money? Yeah. And I mean, people are still talking about that. It's tough, and it's even tougher. But then again, when I listen to Spotify, I discover more music than I ever would have done like 10 years ago. So it's like there's a downside and there's an upside to everything. But I think for me that's like that's the biggest changes that has happened, I guess.